Big shout out to Charles Eddy, the founder of Carlsbad. Absolute American legend.
Kim's body. After days of looking into this bizarre scene, the police needed more to work with. Perhaps this was a robbery gone wrong. So, they went to the public.
Coming to you today because several days later after that beginning of that investigation, we are not a whole lot farther along than we were Sunday morning. I would like to solicit the public's help for information on this case. This case has garnered quite a bit of attention because of the fact this is a public servant's family member who was killed. The public has shown a lot of interest and support thus far. To come forward at this time asking for help. Again, we worked that scene for several days, nearly around the clock. And like I said, because of the lack of witnesses, the physical evidence, nothing has led us a whole lot farther today in identifying or leading to a suspect than we had that Sunday morning. And again, this is a public servant's family member, and we want to make sure that anybody who has that information can come forward and help us. These type of crimes occur. I tend to talk about them. Family members talk about them. Acquaintances of the suspect in this case, talk about it. Somebody knows something somewhere.
Kim's murder was brutal and messy. As police continued to examine the scene and talk to Derek, they found even more weird things. Derek's custom Harley-Davidson Zippo lighter was missing from its box. Whoever did this to Kim had clearly stolen it, yet they'd left Derek's Rolex watches on the nightstand and his computer untouched. In the garage, they found a Lonely Wives porn magazine, which Derek swore was not his.
How much evidence of foul play?
Substantial.
Can you describe some of that?
I would prefer not to. Keep in mind that there's just about anybody out there who could be our suspect, and I don't want to let too much information to answer your question out. Again, too much information could be bad in this particular instance, but know that there was substantial indications of foul play. Obviously, it's being worked out.
Kim's head and face had been brutally beaten. Her breasts were bruised and her ribs were fractured. She had died from one deep, fatal stab wound to the neck. When detectives asked Derek to turn on his DVD player in the living room, he expected to see a movie he and Kim had been watching pop up on the screen. But that didn't happen. Instead, a porn movie called Lonely Wives came up. Derek got angry. Motherfucker, that should not be on there. That's the same magazine that's out in the garage.
It is a gated neighborhood, so there may be some people in that actual neighborhood who we haven't spoken to. If there's relative information that anyone has regarding the activities that Kim may have had that Saturday to that Sunday, we would certainly like to speak with them as well.
Now, the police had their work cut out for them. In the meantime, Derek prayed that somebody somewhere knew something. Derek Dorsey had returned home from a 24-hour firefighting shift to find his wife Kim beaten and stabbed to death in their upscale home. The house had been ransacked, but in strange ways. The police found remote controls in the kitchen sink, as though someone had attempted to wash them. Zip ties around Kim's wrists, as well as a pornographic movie in the DVD player. None of Derek's Rolex watches or computers had been taken. It seemed that whoever killed Kim stuck around the house for a long while after drinking and smoking and watching a porn movie called Lonely Wives. I haven't seen that one. I wonder if there's a part 2 or 3 or 4. Derek Dorsey was cooperative with the police. He admitted that things between him and Kim were not so great. Then again, every couple goes through tough times at one point or another. But Derek had been kind of sleeping around with other women behind her back. Maybe Kim knew. Maybe she didn't. But he swore that he still loved his wife deeply.
Well, she was a strong, beautiful, independent individual. Worked hard for everything she ever did. She was a productive member of society. This is just the type of person that she was.
Derek said he had nothing to gain from Kim's death. There was no life insurance policy to be cashed out or a new girlfriend to move in and take Kim's place. Plus, Derek's alibi was solid and actually checked out. He was working at the fire station during the murder. So, who did this? Derek and Kim were a career-oriented couple. They had no kids, just a few dogs, and both worked in the construction world. Kim had a degree in civil engineering and headed up quality assurance for an inspection depot, where she helped Floridians prepare construction for hurricanes. Derek ran his own general contracting business on top of being a firefighter, so they had a lot of cash. But Kim took her work very seriously, and it soon weighed on her. She couldn't turn off work, and she found herself taking antidepressants. She gained a lot of weight. Her body changed, and her mind didn't feel so great. The week she was killed, she was planning on going back to the doctor to switch up her medication. The side effects were taking a major toll on her physical and mental health. That's why Derek immediately thought she'd killed herself when he came home to find her, dead.
Okay, sir, tell me exactly what happened.
I don't know if you tried to commit suicide. Been rescue 50. I'm off-duty fireman. Come on.
But Kim's death was not a suicide. The state of the house told a story of turmoil. Kim had clearly fought off whoever had attacked her. She'd even managed to get a gun at one point and fire off some rounds at her assailant. But she missed, and the bullet hit the wall. It was also determined that Kim had been raped. She died from blunt force trauma to her head and a fatal stab wound. This attack was as personal as it is sickening. Derek ran a general contracting business and often employed various young guys on quick jobs. He gave the police a few names, including Joshua Veal and Lance Kirkpatrick, or LJ, as he was called. Lance actually lived with the Dorseys at one point, and Derek said that he would have taken a bullet for Kim.
So, tell me when you lived with them. When was that?
Not so long ago. And I stayed there here and there if I had to.
Okay. So who lives at the house besides him and her? And the kids?
No, they're all my kids.
Okay, no kids. Okay. Now, do you have a car?
No.
No car. All right. So would he take you to work, or like take you to the job site?
Yeah, he takes the job site. Sometimes they call, like, depending on where I'm staying, they'll come pick me up.
Okay. So roughly how long, now, if you know Kim as long as you know Derek, they've been married the whole time?
Yeah, they've been married the whole time. I mean, pretty much I met,
Who'd you meet first?
Well, I met Derek first because I was working on his house. You know, this is before they moved in. This is before they moved into the house.
Passing through high rolls right now. Heading towards Alamogordo, Tularosa.
Lance said
I want
that
us
he
to go
met
through the
Dorseys when he worked on their house. Then Derek would call him to come do random jobs for his business.
How long ago would you say you lived with?
Maybe a month and a half.
Okay.
Not even. I mean, I just went and cleaned. Matter of fact, it's been probably less than a month because I just went and cleaned the room. You know, he called me like a week or two ago, asked me to come clean the room up upstairs.
Okay.
Because
leave the trash or?
Well, I didn't
Half
trash,
mile
but I still had
ahead.
some clothes up there.
Okay.
You know, the bathroom needed to be cleaned. You know,
No
you know,
J's
clean,
involved.
Stuff like that.
Okay. So you went and did all
So
that?
I went and did all
When
that.
did you do that? 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Lance said that he hadn't been to the Dorseys' house since he cleared out his stuff.
So you move out. When you move out, where you live after you move out of his place?
I went and stayed in the apartment that I'm at now.
That's okay. That's when you hooked up with Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Lance said that he'd been staying with a new friend named Brian Kiefer. As he told police after leaving the Dorseys, he'd become a bit of a vagabond.
Where do you live?
I'm just wherever I can stay.
Okay.
When the police were on to Lance, they didn't just bring him in for fun. You see, Lance had told Derek that he was on a shrimping boat in Georgia when Kim died. But that wasn't true. He was in Jacksonville, staying with his buddy Brian. Brian wasn't the most savory guy, put it that way. He was straight up sketch.
Where'd you get that snowball? You made it yourself?
Go down.
Was it one piece? No?
I make it like this.
Nice. Some little kid just gave me that giant ice ball and he was like, hey, do you want to take a picture with it? I'm like, yeah. Hold my phone.